It begins with a dream most of us have had at least once, waking up surrounded by endless blue, sunlight reflecting on calm waves, the sound of the ocean whispering against the hull. No alarm clock, no traffic, no rent, just freedom. For some, that dream becomes a plan to work on a ship, to live aboard long term, or to retire at sea. To leave the noise of the world behind and live where every day feels like a vacation. But behind that postcard picture, behind the music and cocktails and laughter on deck, lies another truth, quiet, hidden, and often unspoken. Because living on a cruise ship is not what most people imagine. It's not just sunsets and freedom. It's something much more complex. This is the dark side of life at sea. When you first step aboard, everything feels electric. The air hums with energy. The ship feels alive, a floating city built for pleasure. Every corridor glows with light, every smile feels genuine, every meal feels like a celebration. You unpack, you explore, and you think, this is paradise. And for a while, it is. The food, the shows, the views, they dazzle you. Every day feels fresh and full of possibility. But slowly, quietly, things start to blur. Days begin to look the same. The same pool deck, the same buffets, the same entertainment schedule. Ports come and go, faces change, yet somehow everything repeats. You wake up one morning unsure if it's Tuesday or Friday, unsure if the ship is heading north or south, unsure when exactly you last touched land. The ocean, as beautiful as it is, plays tricks on your sense of time. The sun rises and sets the same way every day. You lose the rhythm of normal life. Weekends, weekdays, holidays, they dissolve into one endless drift. At first, you don't notice. Then, one morning, it hits you. You've been floating through time. Cruise life has a pulse of its own. The lights never truly go out. Even when passengers sleep, crew members are cleaning, cooking, checking systems, preparing for the next day. The ship hums like a heartbeat, steady and mechanical, a reminder that this world never stops moving. But living inside that heartbeat comes with a cost. You can't step away from it. There's no going home at 5 p.m. There's no quiet street, no backyard, no separation between work and rest, because the ship is your home, your job, your neighborhood, and your confinement. For crew members, this rhythm becomes their reality. Many work 10 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, for months without stepping on solid ground for more than a few hours at a time. They smile for guests, perform, serve, and fix, always cheerful, always professional. But behind the smile lies exhaustion and sometimes deep homesickness. Some share tiny cabins below deck, no windows, 2 or 4 bunks squeezed into narrow walls of metal. There's a small curtain for privacy, a thin mattress, a locker for clothes. They hang up small things that remind them of home. A photo, a lucky charm, a child's drawing. And for a few minutes between shifts, they lie still and pretend they're somewhere else. Then the intercom beeps. Another shift begins. The cycle repeats. Passengers rarely see this world. It exists beneath their feet, a network of narrow hallways called I-95, stretching the length of the ship like a secret highway. It smells of detergent and metal, it hums with machinery, and it never sleeps. In that world, laughter from the upper decks sound faint and far away, almost like another planet. And yet, that hidden world is what keeps the cruise alive. Every meal, every show, every clean towel, they all come from the effort of people below deck who rarely see daylight. For them, the ocean isn't a view, it's a sound, a vibration through the walls, a reminder that they're always moving, even when standing still. But not everyone below deck is a worker. In recent years, a new group has emerged. People who choose to live on cruise ships long term. Some are retirees who realized it's cheaper than a nursing home. Some are remote workers who trade apartments for cabins. Some just fell in love with the rhythm of the sea and never came back. At first, it sounds like the ultimate freedom. No bills, no neighbors, no housework. But those who try it quickly discover the cracks. Life on a ship means constant motion. You can't step out for a walk in the park or drive to visit family. Your entire world exists within a few hundred meters of steel and glass. After a few months, you begin to crave stillness, the feeling of unmoving ground, of silence that doesn't hum. The ship becomes both home and prison. You have friends, sure, the bar staff who know your drink, the fellow travelers who share stories at dinner. But people come and go. Every voyage, your little circle dissolves. You say goodbye more often than you say hello. The loneliness creeps in quietly. Even surrounded by thousands of people, you feel unseen, because no one here really stays. And then the ocean itself. Beautiful, vast, unpredictable. Most of the time it's calm, a mirror reflecting the sky. But sometimes it reminds you who's really in charge. Storms come without warning. Winds howl through the decks, waves crash against the hull, and the entire ship groans as if it's alive. Cabin lights flicker, furniture tremble, and you lie awake listening to the sound of nature, reminding you that this freedom you enjoy, it's fragile. At night, when you stand on deck alone and look out at the black water, it's mesmerizing and terrifying all at once. The sea stretches forever. No lights, no land, just darkness. You realize how small you are, how easy it would be to disappear out here, unnoticed by the world. It's in those moments you understand the real meaning of isolation. Not loneliness, but insignificance. And yet, there's something hauntingly beautiful about it. Because in that isolation, you start to see yourself more clearly. There's no noise to distract you, no rush of schedules or screens. Just the ocean and your own thoughts, stretching endlessly together. Many who live long-term at sea describe it as a spiritual experience. They say the sea strips away everything unnecessary. Ego, stress, material wants, until only truth remains. They find clarity. They learn to live slowly, to appreciate small things, a calm sunrise, a conversation with a stranger, the taste of morning coffee as waves rock the ship gently. But that peace comes at a price. You lose touch with the pace of the world. News, holidays, milestones, they happen without you. You drift between time zones, between countries, between lives. The world moves on, and you stay floating in between. Even the romance of travel changes meaning when you live at sea. Visiting new ports sounds thrilling, until you've done it 100 times. Soon the novelty fades. Each destination starts to blur into the next. Another market, another beach, another selfie spot. And sometimes you realize you're not really seeing the world. You're skimming across it. Always arriving, never staying. Collecting moments instead of memories. That's when some people start to question what they're really chasing. Is it freedom or escape? Is it adventure or avoidance? Because the ocean can free you from your past, but it can also keep you from facing it. There's also the illusion of safety. Cruise ships feel indestructible. Massive steel giants gliding effortlessly across the water. But those who live on board know better. They've seen mechanical breakdowns, medical emergencies, power outages in the middle of nowhere. They've watched the calm sea turn violent within minutes. They've learned to trust the crew, the systems, and luck. Because out here, luck is part of survival. And during those long, rough nights, something changes in you. You stop taking stability for granted. You stop pretending control is real. You start to respect the power of nature, not in a poetic way, but in a deeply human one. Still, for every hardship, there's a strange beauty that keeps people coming back. It's in the sound of waves against the hull when the world is asleep. It's in the way sunsets stretch longer over the open sea than they ever do on land. It's in the quiet friendships built between people from every corner of the world, united by motion, by the strange intimacy of a shared horizon. Life at sea changes you. It humbles you, challenges you, and reminds you that luxury and struggle often exist side by side. For some, it breaks them. For others, it rebuilds them. Because once you've lived in a world where every view is infinite, it's hard to go back to walls and boundaries. Even after seeing the dark side, many still crave it. The rhythm, the vastness, the feeling of belonging nowhere and everywhere all at once. But the darkest part isn't storms or loneliness, it's the silence when you finally come home. When you step off the ship and feel the solid ground under your feet, you expect comfort. Instead, you feel a strange emptiness. The noise of land feels too loud. The air feels still. You miss the gentle sway, the hum of the engines, the sound of the ocean breathing outside your window. You realize the ship has become part of you, its motion imprinted in your bones. You scroll through photos, and they feel like memories from another life. Because maybe, in a way, they are. Life at sea doesn't just show you the world, it changes how you see everything after it. You start to notice how fast land life moves, how distracted everyone seems, how little time people spend actually looking at the horizon. You begin to understand why some never return to land for long. Because once you've found that rhythm between sky and sea, it's hard to forget it. The truth is, the dark side of living on a cruise ship isn't evil or tragic, it's simply real. It's the part that brochures don't show, the side that travel influencers never film, the quiet, human side of paradise. It's the cost of freedom, the ache of impermanence, the price of beauty that never stops moving. And maybe that's the lesson the ocean has always tried to teach us, that nothing is permanent, not even paradise. That happiness doesn't come from escaping the world, but from understanding your place within it. That freedom isn't the absence of roots, it's the courage to drift, knowing you may never fully arrive. So yes, living on a cruise ship can be magical. You'll see sunsets most people only dream about. You'll meet people who change your life. You'll learn to live with less and feel more. But you'll also face loneliness, monotony, and moments of deep reflection that challenge everything you thought you knew about happiness. You'll discover that the ocean, like life, gives and takes in equal measure. And if you stay long enough, you'll find that its greatest gift isn't freedom, it's perspective. Because out there, surrounded by nothing but water and wind, you finally realize how small you are, and how beautiful that smallness can be. As the ship glides through another endless night, lights shimmering against the Black Sea, you stand at the railing and watch the horizon fade into darkness. You breathe in the salt air, feel the wind brush against your face, and for a moment, just a moment, you understand why some people never come back. Not because they're running from something, but because they've found something the rest of us spend our lives chasing, a kind of peace that exists only between waves. So the next time you see a cruise ship crossing the ocean, remember, it's not just a floating hotel. It's a world within a world, full of stories, secrets, sacrifices, and dreams. A place where paradise and solitude sail side by side. And maybe in the end, that's the real truth of life at sea. It's not about escaping the world. It's about learning to drift with it and discovering, somewhere along the way, who you truly are. The longer you live at sea, the more the line between dream and reality begins to blur. Days melt into one another. Sunsets, dinners, port calls, until you stop counting them. You stop chasing destinations and start listening instead. To the rhythm of the waves, to the quiet breathing of the ship, to the thoughts that surface when the world goes still. You learn that the ocean has its own language. It speaks in whispers and roars, in the hush of dawn and the crash of storms. It doesn't demand your attention, it earns it. And if you stay long enough, you begin to understand it. There are nights when you step onto the deck and the sky is painted in silver. The moon hangs low, the water sparkles like glass, and the air feels so alive you can almost taste it. You stand there in silence, wrapped in that impossible stillness, and you think, this is forever. But the next morning, it's gone. The sea changes, the wind shifts, the dream moves on. That's the truth about the ocean. It never stays the same. And maybe that's why it fascinates us so deeply. Because it reminds us that nothing in life is permanent. Not the calm, not the storm, not the people who sail beside us. Everything drifts, everything changes, everything moves. And somehow, that makes it beautiful. If you live long enough on a ship, you start to see how fragile the illusion of control really is. You can plan every detail, every port, every menu, every show, but the sea decides the rest. A shift in wind, a change in current, and suddenly the itinerary is rewritten. Out there, you learn patience. You learn surrender. You learn that peace doesn't come from holding on. It comes from letting go. There's something humbling about realizing the ocean doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care about your status, your plans, your ambitions. It's vast, eternal, indifferent. And in that indifference, there's truth. Because when you finally accept that you're just a small part of something infinite, you stop trying to control it. You start to flow with it. And for the first time, you feel truly alive. But even as you find peace, the human heart never stops longing. You think of home, the sound of rain on rooftops, the smell of fresh coffee, the laughter of family gathered around a table. You realize that even the most beautiful horizon can't replace connection. That's the paradox of life at sea. It gives you everything and takes something precious in return. It gives you freedom, but takes your roots. It gives you endless beauty, but keeps you from holding it still. It gives you peace, but surrounds you with solitude. You learn to live between worlds, between freedom and longing, motion and stillness, sky and sea. And somehow, that in-between becomes home. There are people who live and die on the ocean. They become part of their story, nameless waves in a vast, eternal rhythm. And maybe that's not a tragedy. Maybe it's grace. Because when you live surrounded by endless horizons, you stop fearing endings. You realize that everything, every life, every journey is just another wave, rising and falling in the great tide of time. You start to see beauty not in permanence, but in motion. Not in arrival, but in travel. Not holding, but in drifting. And one evening, when the ship sails quietly through golden light, you'll stand at the railing and understand. This was never about escape. It was about discovery. Not of places, but of yourself. The sea doesn't give answers. It gives perspective. It shows you how small you are and how infinite life can feel when you stop trying to anchor yourself. It teaches you that peace isn't found in a destination. It's found in surrendering to the journey. Because no matter how far you sail, the horizon always stays just out of reach. And maybe that's the point. The horizon isn't meant to be reached. It's meant to remind you that there's always something more. More to learn, more to love, more to feel. And when people ask what it's really like to live on a cruise ship, the truth isn't dark or light. It's both. It's beauty and boredom, laughter and loneliness, peace and longing, all at once. It's life, distilled to its simplest form. And when you finally leave the ship for good, when your feet touch solid ground again and you look back one last time, you'll realize something quietly profound. You didn't just live on the ocean. You lived with it. And for a while, it lived with you. The ocean doesn't promise happiness, but it does offer truth. And for those who dare to call it home, that truth, vast, quiet, and eternal, is more than enough. So maybe the dark side of living on a cruise ship isn't dark at all. Maybe it's just the part that shows us who we really are, when everything else drifts away. If you love stories that explore the real, hidden side of cruise life, stay tuned, because the ocean still has many secrets left to tell.